next query is coming in from Sanjay and it's on Jyoti Labs. He hasn't mentioned how many shares he has, but his average buying price is 280. Should he hold on to this counter or exit? Avinash, firstly, welcome on the show. Any view on Jyoti Labs?
I think he should continue to hold Somit. I think it represents FMCG sector, and I think hopefully the coming year should be a good year. Our sense is that both volume growth as well as pricing should be much better in the current financial year. My sense is, I think, despite the fact that he's purchased at a higher level, he can possibly stay invested for the next 12 to 15 months. He can even think of averaging because, the company has been growing quite steadily over the last few years. So continue to hold, but keep a time frame of 12 to 15 months.
Avinash, you don't think the news on that Henkel partnership not being renewed could lead to a stock being derated for quite some time now? Because I think the contribution on EBITDA was quite strong from these brands. Any view?
No, I think, see, the short-term impact would be there, but my sense is, the management has the bandwidth to actually migrate successfully, and I don't think, that is going to result in a complete stoppage of business. So I think something on the table could definitely be planned by the management. So yes, in the short term, this could be a kind of a small negative surprise. But I think going forward, I think some sort of corrective action and some sort of new marketing strategy would definitely be developed by the by the existing management team. So I think from a near term perspective, yes, the overhang could be there. But from a longer term perspective, I think things could definitely improve going forward. So we'll have to wait and watch.
And got that view, Avinash. The next question that's coming in, this one's on JNK India as well as on NLC India. So Avinash, our viewer Mohit actually is asking a question between those couple of plays. What's a preferred pick?
No, I think JNK India looks pretty good. I think it represents the infra opportunity, and I think the management has been very positive in sounding that the current year is been quite good. The order book is also quite solid. Hopefully the execution comes to be nice, and definitely that could get reflected in the numbers. So I think JNK India could be a good opportunity. I think if the investor can hold on for the next say 12 to 18 months, I think this could be an interesting bet because a lot of people have shown interest in the company. The management commentary has been good, and I think hopefully if the numbers are much better than what the street expects, then I think you could expect a gradual re-rating here.
Well, the minutes valuation comparison to other cables and wires makers, should he continue to hold, Avinash?
Yeah, I think he should continue to hold. The reason is cable and wire companies are now considered to be, the representative, kind of names for the data center opportunity. And I think, if you look at the performance of all the wire and cable companies, very strong numbers despite the fact that copper prices have been volatile. Finolex Cable is also a very strong bonus candidate, Puneet. I think the markets have been awaiting a bonus for a very long time. So I think that could be a little bit of good sentimental news in the near term. But in terms of their product mix, in terms of their geographical reach, Finolex Cable is a very old player. And obviously the benefit of the tailwind in the industry is also going to benefit Finolex Cable. So I think if he can hold on for the next 12 months rather than 8 to 9 months, I think he could definitely expect a decent risk reward.
Let's go across to Hyderabad now, which is the first caller for today. And Shailendra has a stock query for us. Shailendra, very good afternoon to you.
Yes.
What's your query?
Sir, I have acquired HDFC Bank. So 115 shares at the rate of 507.
Okay. Sorry, what's the price, Shailendra?
Yeah, the average price is 807.
807. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Shall I acquire more on? Shall I add that?
And is this a long-term bet, Shailendra?
Yeah, that is long term. Yeah.
Got it. Well, Avinash, we can't go with our ask profit without getting a query on HDFC Bank. But we got one in the morning, and we mentioned that it's an eternal query that all investors have. If it continues to be a good long-term bet, despite any kind of slowdown that we might have for FY27 in terms of loan growth. But what's your view on the stock now?
So, Puneet, my sense is, the stock has not done anything at all in the last 2 years. And I think, most of the analysts, most of the foreign institutional investors have been putting buy reports. My sense is that it is now going to be a compounder stock. Max to max, I think, you could expect, say, 15% returns. And if you look at the performance of HDFC Bank vis-a-vis the other banks, I think other banks are better positioned. I think we would prefer to, bet on something like an Axis Bank or ICICI Bank in the private sector. And in the private sector, I think, there are many small banks where the risk reward is much better. Something like maybe, a Bank of Maharashtra or private sector bank like Federal Bank. So my sense is if he's going to hold on for the next say 2 to 3 years, he can definitely continue to stay invested. But don't expect any major fireworks here because the base has become very large. And I think we have seen the performance of HDFC Bank compared to ICICI or Axis. Definitely, the other two banks have done better. So clearly from a medium term angle, things could get better, but in the very near term, challenges will continue. So I would suggest that if he wants a faster growth and a better risk reward, he should shift either to ICICI or Axis Bank. But otherwise, he can hold on for the next 2 to 3 years if he wants to stay put in HDFC Bank.
I'll take the next call. Just Avinash, actually, we were just flashing, I think, the results also just before the show. Company has come back into profits. Yes, again, maybe some Dhurandhar effect just in the last 10 to 12 days that we'd gotten. But did you get a chance to view the results by any chance and any view on the stock?
No, I think definitely the profitability has come back. So, Dhurandhar, I think 1 and 2 have really worked well for PVR. But I think today the management commentary, I believe, is at 3 o'clock. So, I think we'll get better clarity as to what is the kind of new pipeline of movies, what is the kind of traction the management expects in FY 26-27. But I think, the markets have been waiting for this for a very long time. The stock has consolidated at this level for a very long period of time. And unless we see a decent earnings growth of at least 18-20%, Puneet, the re-rating will not happen. Markets want to see a consistent growth in earnings. And, once the merger had happened, there were a lot of expectations that the growth could be much better. But somewhere, I think, they have been facing a little bit of sluggishness in their revenue and profitability. So I think we'll have to wait and watch. But yes, I think somebody who's holding it for a long time should hold on. Hopefully, the management commentary should be positive. And I think this year, that is 27, should be a much better year as compared to last year.
So the one-time gain, as Avinash rightly highlighted, commentary will be very key for growth. But the one-time gain of sale of the popcorn brand 4700 to Marico was definitely that kicker in terms of profitability. But let's go across, take another caller now from Vijayawada. And Aruna has a stock query for us. Aruna, very good afternoon to you. What's your query?
Hi, sir. Good afternoon to all of you, sir. Thanks for taking my query. I'm having Laurus Labs. 400 quantity at 1050 average.
Okay.
What is the short-term and long-term target for Laurus Labs to exit?
To exit, got it. And Aruna, when you bought this, it was a fundamental view or was it from the charts?
Yeah, fundamental view, sir.
Fundamental view, got it. Avinash, been a very strong compounder over the last few quarters. Should Aruna continue to hold at this point of time or book out? What would be a good level?
So I think my guess is, Puneet, the company has done very well in the last say 2 to 3 quarters, and this year should be another good year because a lot of its molecules could possibly get commercialized. My sense is, this company has a very high profit margin, operates in a very high growth trajectory, and they've invested a lot of money in R&D in their new facility. So my sense is the benefits of all this could definitely get reflected in 26-27. So I think probably a level of 1400, 1450 looks possible. It's a very well managed, company management, kind of stock. And I think this business is a very unique and a very difficult business to replicate. So to that extent, yes, I think the investor has taken a position at a fairly good, attractive level. I think the investor should wait for the next, say, at least 12 to 15 months. We should expect better numbers going forward.
Next one coming in, from Shankar from Bangalore, and he time and again tries a good question if it's a good time to buy Ola Electric or no, and he wants to buy 1,000 shares. So he has a few picks which he keeps rotating now, which we've been noticing now, Shankar as well. So you'll have to put some new picks now. But Avinash, today all these EV related names are rallying on that call or that appeal in that sense from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, at least to reduce petrol as well as diesel products. But do you have a view on Ola Electric? Is the 10,000 per month target for the last 2 months enough evidence to even consider this counter now?
No, Puneet, my sense is within the electric vehicle two-wheeler space, I think we look at companies like Ather Energy, a much better and established player. Ola Electric, the narrative has played out for a very long time. And I think unless we see very strong numbers, for the April to June quarter, I don't think in the very near term the stock will get re-rated. See, today the news about the Prime Minister saying that cut down petrol and diesel consumption and opt for electric vehicles is definitely good to hear. But in terms of stock specifics, I think they need to do a little bit of more cost management. They need to actually show a positive bottom line. And I think that is what the market is clearly waiting. There have been many big announcements from the company management, but unfortunately nothing has been delivered. So I'll prefer to wait. I think rather than jumping the gun and immediately buying something like Ather Energy or maybe something like even a Electra Green, which is into the commercial buses segment. These could be better bets because these are better capitalized, very, very strong businesses, and where the managements are very clearly looking at a positive EBITDA. So these two companies could be better choices. So Ola, I would say that please wait for the April to June quarter. I think at that point of time, one could take a fresh air.